Hello and welcome. Welcome to those of you who have come in and started to join us for our sixth webinar of the series on Sing, which is to complement the Sing module. So my name is Beck Hughes and I'm the lead of professional learning here at Raising Literacy Australia. And I'm just thrilled to have you join us this morning. And hello to Julia Jones, who's a Deputy Director here at Raising Literacy Australia. She's here in the room as well. And Abby Belton, who's our Words Grow Minds Program Officer as well. I have alongside me Laura, who's part of our team here as well. She's monitoring the chat and working alongside with our tech side of things this morning as well. So a friendly reminder that we're going to be recording today's webinar, and this is going to be shared through our socials and wider network. So you'll be able to access this recording as well as the slides too after this webinar. So please be mindful just of your audio and your backgrounds. So welcome to you all. I think what makes Words Grow Minds truly extraordinary is its ability to bring together a diverse range of early years professionals who are making a meaningful difference in the lives of young children and families. And it's so inspiring to see the dedication and passion to this community, and we're so glad to have you here with us. So hello to also to any families that are joining us today or anyone from other states across Australia as well. And this webinar is a place for you to contribute to. So it's a place to share your knowledge and your lived in experiences and to learn and reflect. There's a chat box available in your Zoom and on your Zoom options panel. So click it and it should pop up, drag it out and have it up on your screen, because that's going to be a really great way that you can interact and connect throughout this webinar this afternoon and this morning. Pop your name in the chat and say hi. Pop your name in there, even if you're your service too, and let's see where we're all coming from at this webinar today. And let's get that chat rolling and begin to connect. Firstly, we recognise and pay our respects to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, their ancestors and the elders from past, present and future from the different First Nations across Australia. We acknowledge the importance of connection to land, culture, spirituality, ancestry, family and community for the wellbeing of all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children and their families. Raising Literacy Australia, we're positioned and delivering this webinar to you on Kaurna country. And it'd be great to hear also, as you're saying hello and popping where your service and where you're joining us from, the land in which you are also joining us here on this today. So I can see some people are saying hello from Aldinga, which is amazing. Yorke Peninsula as well, Mid-North. Oh, wow, New York City in the US here, Thomas. Wow, welcome aboard. That's so amazing to have you join us. I'd love to know what time it is over there as well, but so nice to see you joining us from where you are today. Nice to see, as well as a lullaby artist here, some Yorke Peninsula as well. So we're reaching far and wide in this webinar today by the looks of things, and it's just so fabulous to see. Amazing. Keep popping your names and services, and again, say hello to each other as well. If you want to know a little bit more, you can do that throughout the chat. So as you've already started to do, we've started to connect, and that's what this webinar is all about. We're encouraging you to participate, and you can do that in various ways. So we are a big group, so there will be opportunities for you to ask questions, but throughout the session or the webinar today, pop those thoughts and ideas and those questions in the chat, because we will log them and we will use and have an opportunity after the presentations for those questions to be asked and for you to have an answer for them. But if there are quite a significant amount of number, we're going to collate them and we will make time and make sure that your questions will get answered. So we'll make a question sheet and we will also save it and have it alongside the webinar recording for you to access after the webinar. So please use the chat. Again, if you haven't found it, use that little chat icon on your Zoom options panel and click and have it up on your screen. At one point, we're also going to invite you to have a go at Annotate. And some devices have this option available and some don't, and we recognize that. But it does look like a little pen or a pencil. It can sometimes sit on the left-hand side in a little circle. Sometimes it's in your options bar and it's under more. It depends on your device as to where you and how you can access that. If you haven't got that option and at that point you're still trying to find it, don't worry, pop it in the chat. Laura alongside me here, she's going to annotate for you. So don't be worried or don't be afraid if you don't have that. You can still participate and engage in this webinar fine without it. Again, just really be aware that this does belong to everyone, this chat, so be inclusive and respectful to the language that you do use. If you do share a story, please de-identify any children and families. And we want to obviously build connections and belongings across South Australia, but I think we need to go across the world here in this piece here today, so which is so exciting to see. So pop in any thoughts, ideas, any suggestions, service providers and organisations, and let's share. This webinar will be running for an hour and a half, and if we do run over, please be assured, and if you have to go, that's okay. We will be recording this and make this accessible to you as soon as possible. So we understand that sometimes we can run a little over, but we just want to make sure we've got all that time to share and make sure that content is available to you. Again, any thoughts and questions, feel free to keep popping it in the chat. I can see people popping also where they're from. Oh, Thomas, it's 7:30 on Wednesday night. Oh, that's not too bad, which is nice for you, Thomas. Hi, Joe there from Kansas. Well, it's so nice to see you coming from Queensland and joining us today as well. So I would like to give a very warm welcome, and we're so fortunate to have Emily Gann and Molly Flanagan-Schoberg here from Connecting the Dots in Music as the key presenters of this webinar today. We will also hear from Jodie O'Regan slightly as well. She's going to take part at one point, and she's going to actually get us quite creative in all of our energy, creative energy flowing as well at some point too. So Emily here is the founding director of Connecting the Dots in Music and the founder of the Lullaby Project Australia. Emily has a passion for music education and creative music making with communities and has established a growing portfolio of creative music projects that sit in the intersection of the arts, education, community and health sectors. In addition, Emily is currently undertaking a PhD that focuses on the upscaling of community engaged music projects for health and wellbeing. Emily's also a mother of 2 school-age children and works as the head of Year 11 at Emmanuel College. So hello and welcome aboard here to you, Emily. Molly also will be a key presenter today. She lives and works in Orangalang on the Southern Yorke Peninsula. She's a registered creative arts therapist and postgraduate psychology student who works to integrate arts-infused and body-based approaches into therapy and wellbeing practices across education and community settings. Molly's work and interest sits on the cross-section of arts, health and community, and she's found dancing, drawing, singing and creating new things to be an enriching and a necessarily part of life. And so works to build spaces which foster this experience. And Molly's recently been also appointed as the Arts and Cultural Facilitator with Community Arts SA and Yorke Peninsula Council, a role in which she will support accessible and meaningful community arts engagement. We're going to learn so much more about Emily and Molly's expertise as they introduce us to Connecting the Dots in Music and their impactful work of the Lullaby Project later in the webinar. They're going to share insights into how music and lullabies can transform early childhood experiences, providing practical tips to help you build confidence in incorporating song and movement activities into your work with babies and young children. Additionally, Emily and Molly will discuss strategies for supporting families to embrace singing in their daily interactions and ensuring program success. This session promises to inspire and equip you with actionable ideas to enrich both professional practice and family engagement through music. So thank you once again and welcome Emily and Molly. And over to you.
Thanks so much, Beck.
Thank you.
Lovely to be here. We're really excited. We're just going to start just telling you a little bit about our organisation, Connecting the Dots in Music. We are a very small and a very nimble, community-focused organisation. And I started the organisation back in 2018. I saw a need for a small organisation that really focused on connecting communities with the arts sector and creating opportunities for professional musicians and organisations to come together and partner with communities to make it accessible for people to come together and build community through music. So we're very much about working in partnership with communities. We really, core to our beliefs is that every child has the right to music and that every person is musical and has rich creative potential. And it's about supporting people to find that and celebrate that. And we really strongly believe that that music can really bring people together and support people coming together and building that community and social cohesion. So we're fantastic that we're here today, and we're really, really excited to be sharing this time with you. We run a whole lot of different projects, and you'll hear a lot about, in particular, Lullaby Project later. But just briefly, we run projects with all sorts of different ages, very much though about co-creating music with professional musicians and people in community. So one of our projects, Music for All project, we work with young people to bring a story to life, which is very much focused on how we all bring our strengths together. And we've taken that project into schools. We've taken it overseas, partnered with Carnegie Hall to present that for families in America in the art gallery. It's a really exciting project to see people bring their own music to life through story. One of our other projects that we do is also based on a children's book, What Do You Do With an Idea, which is very much focused around engaging young people to come up with their own ideas and believe in their own ideas. And we've worked in partnership with Adelaide Symphony Orchestra and Young Adelaide Voices to bring that book to life by an American author, Kobe Yamada. And we've done that in various settings and produced a creativity guide for schools and young people to explore the book through all sorts of different art forms. And that's been a really fantastic project and really exciting to see that to come to life in different forms as well around Adelaide and in schools. A big part of our work is training, as we are doing today, but also training a community of artists to work in the community space. Often professional artists are on stages and quite separate from audiences. And there's a real opportunity to support artists to develop skills to work with communities and in collaboration with communities. So a big part of that is our artist development residencies. What we're doing today is part of our training program for people who work in the early years music space. And we've worked a lot with librarians, which we absolutely love doing. And providing support about how to embed music into everyday life, and especially when you're working with young people. And finally, Lullaby Project Australia, which is a project we began in 2019. It's a project of Carnegie Hall, and we work very closely with the fantastic team over there to bring this to Australia. And you'll hear a lot more about that later. But essentially, it's around supporting families and collaborating with families to write a personal lullaby for their child. And it's a really beautiful and empowering and wonderful process. And we will, as I said, we'll share a lot more with you about that later. And these are just a few words that I wrote a few years ago, and I think it's just important to reflect on those right now as we start talking about singing. And it's about building, and it's about futures. It's about building connections across our community, bridges between cultures and beliefs as a universal thing to sing, to create lullabies, and memories that will last a lifetime. So as I said, we're grateful to be here, and we hope you enjoy this journey over the next hour with you. What we will cover today are a few things. We're going to start with an activity in a second, where we're going to collect words from all of the people in the room to create our own group lullaby, which Jodie in the background is going to do while we are talking. We're going to talk about why music matters. We're going to talk about how we create a culture of singing in our communities or in our settings, wherever we are. What makes a good song? How do we select songs? How do we collect songs? Suggestions for how you might go about designing a musical session. There's a list of some resources that you could include, and then we'll go a little bit more into Lullaby Project and then share the lullaby that we're going to create the words for together today. So I'm going to hand over to Molly to move on.
Thank you, Emily. Hi, everybody. I'm really excited to be here. As Beck said, I am coming in from Narungga country in South Australia, from the Southern Yorke Peninsula. It's a really important thing to keep in mind while we go through bringing in a lot of research and brilliant ways that we can talk about singing and how that's integrated into practice across clinical but community settings and projects, that this isn't new. It's been done for millennia. But at the moment, we're really obsessed with labeling it and working out how can we make it fit within our power structures so that we can really work with it widely. So we think about that while we think of who's in our Zoom room, bringing in all of the people that have come before and who have always sung together and created music. Thinking about all of you who put your names in the chats and everyone else in the room and the variety of experience and expertise that we're bringing in, probably through, I'm imagining, families and service providers, and feel free to add in there what your kind of role is within working with children and or people, and how you might be able to incorporate singing into that. And we might expand from that idea to imagining who are those children and bringing them into the room with us. So who are the children that when you think, all right, I think singing is important, I want to learn a bit about it, I want to bring it more in, who for? So kind of bring them to mind as we come into this first activity. Someone who is in the room is Jodie. Jodie is brilliant. She is a composer, she is a writer, and she's a very experienced lullaby project artist who has worked on and coordinated lots of projects. She's also the instigator of a Lullaby Sky model, which we're about to run through. I might get Jodie even to talk a little bit about Lullaby Sky, and bring us into, well, how are we going to do this? How are we going to make a lullaby with all of a sudden with such a diverse group of people?
Thanks, Molly. Yes, and I live in a church in Burra, an ex-church, so I've got a little divine intervention, divine support from behind me there. This Lullaby Sky is often a poster that we put up in a shared space, for example, a foyer in a library or a community centre, and leave it there for some amount of time, and then people add little tiny stars. We often have little stars for people to write on their words that they would like included in a group lullaby. So this is a way for a diverse group over time, or people who can't come and share a workshop together, to contribute words that we can then put into a group lullaby, and we're going to do that today. So here are some prompts you'll see on the slide. Your job is to write some words that I will then disappear with and turn into a group lullaby for us. And here are some prompts of things you might like to talk about: hopes and dreams, things you like to do together, special moments and memories, nighttime routines, favourite bedtime sayings, and what you love about your child. There are no right or wrong answers, because it's about your family and what's in your heart. So I've had lullabies, words such as "go to sleep, I won't tell you again," and and that's a very beautiful thing for a parent to say, because a parent is putting a child to bed night after night after night, and they need them to go to sleep so they can take care of them the next day and the next week and the next year. So it's actually an act of love. So if you would like to, please start contributing. Write some thoughts down in the chat. Is that the way we're doing it, Laura? Great. Yes, please, right now, start writing down some lyrics in the chat. And based on any of those prompts. Oh, there was the slide there a moment ago. Can we go back, Em? And see there is the lullaby poster, and you'll see the stars and people had written on them and then put them up on the poster. And then you'll see over, there's an arrow, which is then that turned into a beautiful group song. So let's get started. Start typing up some things you would like in our lullaby, anything you would like. Let's get started. Em, write something for me, darling.
Okay.
Sleep is sweet. That's superb. Great. Sleep is sweet. I love those tight, squeezy cuddles. Oh,
Laura's popping them up on the screen for all of us to have a look at as well.
awesome. Squeezy cuddles.
Oh, there we go.
These. Love you forever and ever. Sweet dreams, may you be blessed always.
Smile with joy.
And my job is to take a screenshot, I think, before we move on. So let me know when you're going to move on, and I will take a screenshot first. These are so beautiful. Oh, giggles that are contagious.
And you have the courage to always be true to yourself. That's just beautiful.
Don't be in a hurry to grow up.
Pretend and the rest will come. I love that.
From the tip of your nose to the tip of your toes.
There we go. I think we've demonstrated it, Em. I think that's the end of the webinar. There's the Create community. Offer the opportunity, put a bit of structure around it. Creativity will flow and
Amazing.
All right, shall we?
Yeah, Laura's popping, I think, the last few just up on the
Awesome.
screen. She's busy going away with it, annotate there, I can see. And this will help you, Jody, just to get a screen capture of it.
That's plenty, Jody. We'll have enough for an album.
We
At
did
least we've
one.
made it easier for you, Jody, to kind of pop it all together, which is nice. Lots of words.
Oh, these are great lyrics. Everyone's done marvelously. Can I just ask, if we were in a workshop, we might ask you a few questions just to guide. In workshops, we normally work really collaboratively, and the professional musicians are consultants rather than the songwriters. So we would just provide musical consultancy and say, you could have this chord or that chord. What do you like? How would you like the tune to go? So just a couple of questions. And one is, there is a basic rhythm difference between a sort of bouncy baby, dum 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 dum, bouncing on your knee, or a rocking baby, da 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 da. So I'm just going to put it out there. Would you like bouncing or rocking?
Oh,
Rocking, says Beck.
rocking.
Beck,
Yeah,
we're
she
going
got
to
it
go with you.
first.
Yep.
Oh, I love
First
the
in gets
rocking.
the worm. Let's rock. Let's rock. Let's have it a sleepier one. That's lovely. Great.
Amazing.
Rocking, rocking. Great. Fantastic. That's what we're doing. Now, are you done, Laura? Have you done your bit, Possum? Great. So my job now is to print screen. That one. Hang on. I'll do it on this one where I know where the things are. And before I go away, I'm just going to check that I got that, hey? Otherwise, who knows what might happen.
I'll take a picture too.
Look at that. We good.
All right, the challenge is yours, Jody.
All right. Well,
See you in an hour.
okay, I'll see you in a bit.
Oh, good
Fantastic.
luck.
I'll just go quiet and get on with
All right, Molly.
Hitting next
Oh.
and trying not to jump too many slides. There we
That's all
go.
right. So I'm just going to take away these amazing.
No worries.
dancing
I'm going to
thank
start us off
you.
with this quote that really beautifully encapsulates what we're trying to communicate today. And when we're talking about why does music matter? Why does singing matter? It matters because it fosters relationship, it exercises a range of emotions, builds expressive skills, including language, sparks learning, and preserves and celebrates and creates cultural heritage and a sense of belonging. It works across people, activities, and settings, offering promising and too often underused resource for mutual ties and human development. So we're starting with this idea of why does it matter? I'm going to introduce you to slides that will click through. There we go. I'm going to introduce you to why music matters and this model that is created by Jenny Wolfe in conjunction with Carnegie Hall. She's a leading researcher within arts and music and human development. We're going to look, clearly we'll reference to this at the end so people can take away and spend a bit more time with it, but looking to the idea of building brains and bodies, really acknowledging that at 1 year, a baby's brain is 70% of adult size, and at 3 years, it's 85% of what it will be in adulthood and already full of the neuronal networks that make for human thought and communication. And music, especially if you include tapping and clapping and bouncing and dancing, is like a gym. So practically like a gym for fine and large motor control. And then we're looking at becoming close. So in those same first few years, young children are forming and experiencing their first relationships. And we know that when socially supported carers can provide consistent and responsive care for a child, that child develops a sense of security from which they can then explore the world and themselves. And lullabies, which we're going to talk a lot about today, are an excellent example of this. Whilst you're caring or soothing the child to sleep while rocking and singing, you're using really purposeful tones and rhythms, and the baby experiences that critical skill of changing physiological states. So going from being alert to being relaxed, or going from being upset to being calm. Looking also at communicating and imagining, where infants and toddlers and kinder kids are acquiring what's going on around them. They're acquiring the words and the sounds of whatever language they hear regularly. And so the more varied the words and sounds, the more diverse a vocabulary and more easily they're going to be able to communicate with the world around them. We're also looking at sharing and managing feelings. As children learn how to express and manage their feelings, they also are figuring out how to read other people's expressions and feelings and grasping how other people's emotions and minds work. It's a fundamental skill. Lots of early musical play is about this dance between partners, and we're building up suspense and then releasing it. And we're finding boundaries of what's exciting and what's way too much. And we get to play with that as we sing together. It moves into from that primary relationship and family relationship into being with others. So young children are also figuring out how to communicate and interact with everyone else their age. And they're talking and listening and arguing and persuading and turn taking and playing games and working out what rules are and pretending together. While free play is crucial, you can bring music and song in to provide like really engaging structure. So it's not the teacher or the adult in the room saying, okay, it's your turn, now it's your turn. But the rhythm of the song, and children know rhythm innately and respond to this rhythm and can then be held by that and build their social learning through it. And it comes out even wider to belonging to a community. So in these earliest years, children are learning the languages and the accents and the ways of being that they hear at home. They're absorbing songs and stories of the community, and along with them, the beliefs and values that guide their thinking and actions. When we purposefully and appropriately utilize music from all parts of our communities, it's a really foundational way of knitting together expectations of and comfort with engaging with different language and patterns that are either similar or different to your home experience. So I think a way that this can all be mapped onto these really familiar areas of growing and being. You want to think about cognitive and physical development, and how the multisensory nature of music and singing and the low stakes and playful way that we engage with music just makes for the perfect developmental playground within language and communication. This is supported by that serve and return style communication that happens with singing. The child offers, you respond. We're coming back and forward, and there's an embodied and really active nature of that dance that provides an opportunity to develop the felt sense of different emotions and different states of being. And we then can develop tolerance within that and being more aware of those. There's research by psychologists from the Max Planck Institute that found that preschoolers who engage in participatory group music and movement activities showed greater group cohesion, cooperation, and pro-social behaviour when compared to children who didn't engage in the same music activities. And this comes to this idea of creativity and fulfillment, that when we focus on singing together, we bring these human needs to the fore. And focus on those along with our cognitive and physical development. So Sally Chance is a brilliant dance theatre practitioner in Adelaide, and she talks about the cultural life of the child and how important it is to consider the child's experience from this enrichment-focused perspective, and like, are we providing opportunities for the child to experience beauty? We'll come into another quote that really ties it together from Susan Young, who's a great person to look up and read. There's lots of resources around early years music. She says that singing is a moment of intimacy, a concentrated bonding time when interaction between baby and adult is very focused. So singing can help move to build strong, nurturing relationships with their babies. Baby's early attachment to a parent or carer is essential if he or she is to develop a secure sense of self and emotional balance. Into looking at, well, how do we make sure, if it's so important, how do we make sure that we have a culture of singing and that we're fostering a culture of singing? And how do we, as either family members or as professionals, encourage families and communities to sing and dance with babies and young children? You think that babies and children look to those around them to build social norms, to support musical engagement and the developmental, social, emotional benefits. We've got to consistently demonstrate that singing and music making is just what we do. So I think the answer there is normalize. And like, just in the same way as we model clear communication, safe hands, kind words, we have to also model playfulness with engaging with music and singing. So incorporating it into existing routines. Sing as you do. We've worked with those a lot of models around noticing what children are doing and bringing it to light for them. We can sing that as well. And we'll go through today with Emily a lot of kind of practical ways of how we can bring in songs. So keep an eye out for that. It can come up against our idea of our versions of what singing means to us. And are we singers? Are we musical? It's really key to remember that to children, you're a rock star. Like they don't care. They don't have the same socially constructed pressures on what a voice should sound like. So using your voice and your facial expressions is what matters. And in that, it's modeling that like something can feel scary, but you do it anyway. Our voices are really unique. And so sharing your voice holds that element of vulnerability, of sharing a part of yourself, which can be part of why the singing together builds that intimacy and connection. But I invite you to, while we're here and look at these images that are on the screen, I invite you to look closely and find the children in the images and imagine those moments from their perspective and what that might be like to just be sitting there and holding your own guitar and watching the adults play along with you. What that brand newborn baby who started, this is from a lullaby project where that baby was in mum's belly for majority of the project and then got to come to the last session on the outside, hear their lullaby on the outside. And this one around the kitchen table, that's us at an artist development day for Yorke Peninsula Lullaby project, where we had a brilliant mum and her child come along to help us work out how we're going to do this. And you can see her here sitting right in the corner, sitting on Mum's lap while we all sing within the kitchen. So some questions to build, to reflect on, because singing might be your favourite thing or your worst nightmare. Both are fine, but it's worth reflecting on what assumptions are we bringing to it, and how come about ourselves and music, so that we can intentionally kind of pass on what we want. So just having a thought around, what memories do you have of singing and songs from your own childhood? And how often do you use your voice to sing? How confident, comfortable are you with singing in front of other people? And how do you think our modern society has changed the way that we interact with babies and young children? The answers of these aren't to go to be to beat up on yourself around. I don't sing at the moment. It's absolutely fine. It's just to notice that, and to notice where you're at, and go, okay, it's going to be a process. You're not just magically going to start being able to comfortably sing in front of a room of children, perhaps, but you will if you start to step by step bring it in. We're going to come into embedding it, into everyday life.
Thanks, Molly. So the next section is just going to be looking at ways to embed music into everything we do, and talking that through, and then giving some examples of what that might look like in maybe a playgroup setting or a library setting or a childcare. But just overarching thoughts to consider. Essentially, as Molly said, let's sing all the time. And if we can, the more we can sing, the better. Molly, are you able to head to the next slide? That would be great. So singing books, singing lullabies, singing songs, making them up, playing instruments, and you don't have to, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be the best pianist in the world or anything, but having instruments around to play with, whether they be percussion instruments, guitars, whatever you have around, and just getting creative with them with kids. Opportunity to invite your community in to share if they are musicians, so whether that's parents or anyone else, maybe they play the guitar and sing, or maybe they're a violinist, whatever, but having instrumentalists sort of the normal, and not something that's only accessible for a few. So that's a really fantastic way of embedding music into your sessions. Using songs and instrumental music to guide transition between activities, so moving from one thing to the next just by singing as opposed to directing orders, catches children's attention, as many of you probably would have experienced, much quicker than just saying it. Lots of improvisation, making up new words to new songs, getting kids to make up new words, inviting that moment of asking a question, what would you like this word to be, or have you got any ideas? So children are really participating in the music making as well. Really listening to and watching children and babies as they're interacting. We can do a little exercise about that. And then mirroring back, or just really observing, because kids are innately musical, and they will use music to play innately. So picking up on that and responding and building upon that is a really fantastic way as well. And also looking at different cultures. With any community setting, you're going to have a lot of different cultures, and music, as we know, is a universal thing, and it's really a fantastic way to learn about other people's backgrounds through their music. So as inviting parents or grandparents in to share their stories from their backgrounds as well is a really beautiful way of creating that sense of belonging within your community through music as well. So the next little bit are 3 little videos with a young child that I took a few years ago. And I'd just like to invite you to watch these little videos. I'm in them, I'm interacting. This was not set up at all. It just happened, and I thought, this is beautiful, I'm going to capture it. So I put my phone recording on. So I just want you to think about what's going on here, what interactions are going on, musically what's going on, conceptually what's going on, and just see what you can observe. They are blurry as well on purpose.
You want me to press play? Yep.
Do you know a song about a monkey?
Can I about song a monkey?
I know a song about some naughty monkeys that jump on the bed.
Do you know a monkey song?
I think I do. Do you, Oliver?
No.
How many monkeys are jumping on the bed?
One.
One little monkey jumping on the bed. He fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor and the doctor said,
No more monkey. Just be on the back.
oh, but I love jumping on the bed. Can you jump with me?
Okay.
One little monkey jumping on the bed. He fell off and bumped his head. The mommy called the doctor and the doctor said,
No more monkey. Just be on the back.
what else? Can you see a black doggy? Bow, little Tommy Tucker's dog. Bow, wow, wow, woof. Bow, wow, wow. Whose dog art thou? Little Tommy Tucker's dog. Bow, wow, wow, woof.
Do you know a folk song?
Do I know a frog song?
Yes.
You show it to me.
Look, little frog one day. Look, little frog one day. Look,
Molly, did you want to go on to the next one?
La-di-da-di.
I think Beck's got it, yeah.
What can you find in there, Ollie?
Find the quick wish.
Is that Father Christmas? That's a gnome. I don't know if I know any songs about a gnome.
Do you know a gnome song?
I don't think I do. We could make one up.
Okay.
My name is Mr. Gnome. I have a lovely home. I live in the garden beds with my friends. I am a lovely gnome.
Do you know I am in here?
Well, let's have a look. See if you can find another song in there. And yeah, and then last one. Shake and shake and shake and stop. Shake and shake and shake and stop. Oh, gotta stop. Shake and shake and shake and stop. Then we shake some more. Shake really high. Shake really low. Okay, so I'd love if you have any thoughts or you wanted to add them to the chat, it'd be really interesting to see your reflections. But I guess from my perspective, what was so beautiful about this was it was this musical exploration. We had a box of puppets, and that without intentionally becoming a musical exploration, it was. And allowing the child to say, well, what songs can you find in here? And looking and coming up with them. You'll notice the gnome. I had no idea what a song about a gnome was, but that's an invitation to just go, oh, well, let's make one up. Let's have improvisation and creating on the spot become a normal thing. And yeah, offering that child as many invitations to contribute as possible. That last one, I put in there, it's a song that we'll come to again later, but if you consider what is going on, just going back to what Molly was saying before about what's going on, like in terms of cognitive development there, that shaking and stopping and all the motor skills and the listening skills that are involved in that. You'll see we went shake up high, and so we're actually doing that high movement, and then shake down low. So we're already starting to familiarize kids with these musical concepts of high and low, of fast and slow, of stop and start. Some really beautiful moments in those little videos that I'm glad we could share. So which brings us, I guess, to this idea of what does make a good song for children. And I think in a world where we are now very reliant on recorded music. Oh,
I'm trying to press next, but it's
there we go.
Sorry.
Oh, this is I
can jump into this.
Oh, I'll dive. You can take over for this one bit, Molly.
This is just following from what Em was saying there and what you might have noticed. I noticed Sarah was saying that serve and return communication is really evident, and the leaving gaps, which is our last one down here, of singing a song the whole way through and sing it and leave a gap where a key word or phrase might be, and utilizing that natural anticipation to bring in the communication. These are some kind of key skills that you might observe in natural musical play with children, or that you can invite to structure in. That idea of mirroring is just what it sounds like, becoming the mirror of the child, so that you are starting wherever they're at. That means getting your body to where they're at, getting your voice to where it's at, and then using your classic improv yes-anding skills. So are we saying yes and mirroring exactly and really joining with them and letting them lead, or are you saying yes and adding our own thing in, or yes but this? Yes, we're going to start here, but we're going to come over to this place, this different state of being over here. And as Em was doing through all those videos, inviting and allowing the child to like lead the exploration of sounds or themes. My favorite, what is it that you said in there, Em? He's had the gnome, and then you go into the box and say, can you find another song in there? And such a simple sentence, but it's everything is within that, of bringing that idea of the total exploration and what can we do together here. We were starting to talk about the contrasting musical elements that are evident all throughout those videos of high and low, fast and slow, loud and soft. These also match onto movement-based elements within Laban around, we look with direction, speed, weight and flow, of looking, are we moving in these ways, and what are the varying efforts that move? We'll see that adults especially and children develop preferences and profiles quite quickly, and so this can be moments of just observing what is there, but then also finding ways to, are we often up high, and how could we yes and come down low, or are we often very light, and could we find some ways to add some more heaviness in our movements and in our voice, and how can we start to play with that here, just to expand. It's continually expanding. I think we're coming on to, yes, this idea of bringing in tech, and while we have it right here, and that it is bringing music more into, makes it more accessible, right, and is brilliant in this way. And while listening to this can be really fun and playful, it's different to engaging in musical play and singing together. It engages the brain in different ways, and that infant directed singing brings in the facial expression, the creativity, the relationship and the meaning making between the singer and the child. And we can experience with a lot of different styles and forms, and we're able to be responsive when we're working with singing. Recorded music has less chance. You can be really intentional with it, and we'll talk about that as well. But we're following rather than thinking and creating as we go. So we talk about a varied diet of music, and fundamentally that singing unaided is what we're working towards. So while technology has its advantages, it's usually not absolutely necessary. We'll come into this idea of what makes a song good then for a young child.
Yeah, and so as Molly was saying, we if you go to library sessions and things now, often recorded music is used, and as Molly said, it certainly has its place, and there are many fantastic things about it. If we can sing ourselves, it just opens up a lot more opportunities for that interaction and for exploration. If we're just driven by the drum beat of a music, then we're not able to slow it down or speed it up or stop and ask questions. So what does make a good song? It doesn't need to be complex. And I know as adults, and I know I do it, this fear of boring the people in front of us. And as a teacher, I'm often thinking about that. But with young kids, they are happy to sing the same song and do the same game over and over and again. And that, in fact, that's what they love to do. That, if you saw in those videos before, that Galumph went the green frog song, we actually sang that probably about 20 times in that session. because it's exciting the familiar is exciting. So simple rhythm and melody, and something that they can do themselves easily. When we're talking about rhythm, something that often a rhythm that matches their walking or a rhythm that matches their running, so something they can experience. Repetition is key. If you think about Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, 3 of the lines out of the 4 are exactly the same. So it's repetitive, it's predictable, and it's easy to sing. It's also then easy to add your own words to the existing melody that we all know so well. Easy to remember. A good melody is when kids or parents are walking out of your session humming those melodies. Then you know it's a really good melody. And that's why these melodies have stuck around for a really long time. Songs that ignite the imagination and creativity. Songs that jump around too high or too low all the time are hard to sing. And for kids, actually, when I sing this little bit a bit later, 2-note songs are just perfect as well for kids. 3-note songs, 5-note songs. It doesn't have to be really complex. Simple is better. When we are singing, something to think about as adults, especially when we're not regularly singing or have done any singing training, we tend to sing in our talking voice, which is a lower pitch voice. But for kids, their voices are higher. And so we need to think about where we're singing. And you can explore your voice range by doing like sirens, going up and down and finding that pitch that is much higher in sing-song. And that's what we want to encourage children to be singing in that space as well. You'll notice a lot of pop songs are quite low and usually quite too low for kids' voices. So really encouraging that upper range in our singing. And contextualizing the narrative, something that's exciting and again, part of their world, part of their everyday. Sometimes some of the traditional lullabies and nursery rhymes, I find can be tweaked a little bit in terms of their words and their themes, just to update them a little bit and make them a bit more relevant. Just some of the messages they give out probably aren't the messages that we would want to be giving out today, but it does just sometimes just take a little bit of a tweaking of 1 or 2 words. So there's all sorts of different songs we can be integrating into sessions. We have greeting songs, songs to bring people together, bounce songs when we've got, especially with babies and toddlers, bouncing on the knees, wiggle songs using lots of actions. As I said, simple songs, lullabies for sleeping, for relaxing. There are fun circle songs that can invite interaction around the circle and a chance for everyone to have a turn at something. Partner songs are really fun too, especially as kids get a little bit older. All these sorts of different songs. But essentially, again, it just comes down to really wanting to ignite the imagination of young kids and really create opportunities for connection, but also for creativity. So over the next, let's say the next 5 minutes, I'm going to take you on a very, very quick journey, a musical journey. Usually we would do this over half an hour. And if we were face-to-face, we would be all up pretending to be children. But this idea of creating a musical adventure for your kids, creating a story. So this one I'm going to take you on is called All Aboard, the Adventure Train. And over the stages of this adventure, we're going to sing a song. And as I said, it's going to be a very shortened version. But again, if you're thinking about the different musical elements, the contrast, the highs and lows, and all those opportunities to invite imagination, if you just, as we do this, just reflect upon it and what's happening here. So I'm going to now pretend to be an adult and pretend that you're all little kids, okay? So it's time to get out of bed in the morning. Can you jump out of bed in the morning with me? We jump out of bed in the morning. We jump out of bed in the morning. We jump out of bed in the morning. I hope it's a very nice day. What else do we do when we get out of the morning? When we get out of bed in the morning? Maybe we put on our shoes on. We put our shoes on in the morning, and we can go through that and we can ask people questions. And now we're out of bed. It's time to get out of the house. And we're going to use our feet to go walking and stomping. Feet, 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 going up and down the street. Big feet, little feet, can't catch me. Let's see if we can go a little bit faster this time. Feet, feet. So there we've introduced speed already, and big sounds and little sounds. I can see over there a train station. Can you see a train station over there? I think we might go on a train adventure today. I know a great song about a train station. Can you join in with me? Down by the station early in the morning, see the little engines all in a row. See the station master blow his shiny whistle. Puff, puff, toot, toot, and off we go. Should we all get on board on that train? Can you see how big and black and shiny that engine is? What sort of a sound does a train make when it takes off? Does it go like this? Toot! Can you all do that with me? Toot! Here we go. Can you do the wheels as well as we click and clack up that track? Big black train, going up the mountain. Big black train, going down again. Oh, we're not quite there yet. I think we're going to have to go a little bit faster. Toot, big black train. And then we go on again until we arrive at our destination. What can you see? I can see so many things in this valley. Have a think. What might you hear? What animals might you hear? What smells might be around? So many beautiful things. I can see a purple flower over there. I wonder what that might be. I think that might be a bluebell. Can you wave in the breeze like the bluebell? Bluebells, cuckoo shells, ivy over. And then we sing about the bluebell. I don't know about you, but I'm really hungry today. Did you pack the picnic? What would you like to put in your picnic today? I can see an apple there. I can see an orange. Think about what you would love to eat. We're going on a picnic and we're leaving right away. If it doesn't rain, we'll stay all day. Have you got the apples? Yes, we've got the apples. We're going on a picnic and we're leaving right away. And you could go through that, inviting different people to add to your picnic basket as you go along. So you could do that 20 times and the kids would probably still be engaged with that. Uh-oh, what's that ahead? I can see some big black clouds. I can hear some rain coming. Can you make some little rain sounds with your fingers? It's getting louder. It's getting louder. Now I can hear the rain is pouring down. It's time to go and hide. Rain is falling down. Rain is falling down. Pitter patter, rain is falling down. The rain is still going. We need to scare that rain away and we need to call that sun to come out so we can go on our adventure. Can you help me scare away the rain? Mr. Sun, show your face. Frighten all the clouds away up into space. I think we need to call him again because that rain still hasn't quite gone away. And then we can do that again. We need to call louder, so we can go with that a little bit. And there we go. The sun is out, the rain has gone, and we can move forward on our adventure. This time, I reckon it's time to go for a boat ride. Can you hop on the lap of your mum or your dad or your grandma? And can you get in that boat together and start rowing with us? Shall we start off slow and maybe we could get faster? Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. We're almost across the other side. All that rowing, that's been really hard work. I reckon it's time for a rest. Look over there in that beautiful bed of bark. Shall we snuggle up and sing a song? And this would be a beautiful point to invite songs or lullabies from people within your community. There's a really beautiful First Nations lullaby that came from up in Queensland called the Maranoa Lullaby, which is a really beautiful, simple, calming song. And there's just this 1-minute video on ABC that I wanted to share with you about this lullaby, but it's a really beautiful one to learn. Molly, are you able to play that little video?
My name's Ethel Munn. I'm a Gungari woman from southwest Queensland. I've lived in there all my life, and I believe it's a place where men are men and women are wonderful. The lullaby that we sang is just about an Aboriginal mother rocking her baby in a cradle of bark, and it just says, "Sleep as falls the dark, in your bed of bark, none shall harm you, dear, mother watches near. Sleep as falls the dark, in your bed of bark, none shall harm you, because mother watches near." I thought it was great to have something that was put to music or written all those years ago, and here we are now in the 21st century putting stuff together.
Oh, what a beautiful song to sing. I feel so rested now. Can you hear something in the distance? Click, clack, clickety, clack, click, clack, clickety, clack, click, clack, clickety. Could that be the train ready to take us home? Click, clack, clickety, clack, goes the engine up the track. Huffing and puffing and huffing and puffing and clickety, 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 clack. Time to get back on board our train, blow our shiny whistle, and down that mountain we go again. And then we'd sing our train song again. We'd come back down the mountain, and the sun is setting, and there's a star out in the sky. What song do you love to sing about stars? At this point, you'll probably get Twinkle, 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 Little Star, but there are lots of other ones, and we can do that. Thank you so much for coming on our train adventure with us today. I hope you have a really good sleep and a fantastic day. So that, as I said, a very quick version of what would be padded out over a whole session, but so many invitations there for children to lead, to add, to contribute, to model, like we would do, for example, with the rain is falling down, where the pitch was going down, so we're showing how the pitch is going with our actions. We're interacting with our carers in that session, and you could change any of those songs, you could change any of those themes, but keeping within those songs and building up that repertoire of songs with the young people and families. So I guess that's a big message, is to gather songs. And I know when I do these sessions, a lot of people say to me, but how do you know all these songs? You just collect them. You keep collecting them, you listen. Later on, I've got a whole lot of books and references to find these songs. And I just tend to note them down. Maybe even just the first line helps refresh my memory. And I come back to a couple of years, oh, I forgot about that song. There are lots of fantastic songs out there. It's just about gathering them as you go. So I'm going to hand back to Molly. What we did between us is we just thought about different themes that you could come up with for thinking about songs, and we just sort of wrote down the first thought that we thought of, but there are obviously many more. But on this one, that Shake and Stop, which that child in the video was showing you before, and just looking at some of the skills, as I mentioned before, within that little simple song, you've got listening, anticipation, motor skill, the ability to stop and start, fast and slow, high and low. So it doesn't need to be complex, but there's so much within these little songs.
Absolutely. This is where we really were able to talk about that idea of gathering the songs as you go, because we just put up a theme, and then within a couple seconds we're able to go, oh, there's 4 songs between us that we know from them, but they've each come from different moments and different spots. The Hands on the Bridge is a song by Michael Rosen, I think he says his name. He's the Going on a Bear Hunt guy, and I saw a thing online that he had come up with this new song, and that really sparked some interest in me, and then learnt it and brought that into practice. Oh My Rapati is a Maori nursery rhyme that a musician who I love had done a cover of, and you're grabbing them. It's just gradual and building it as you go. So we'd had movement songs, sort of gathering songs that can bring you back in. You'll have lots of moments where you want to come back to that circle or bring people back together. Hello Song is a surefire one. We're singing hello Emily, hello Emily, hello Emily, hello Emily, hello Emily, hello Emily, how are you today? And bringing it back in. We can go around the whole circle doing in this and building on this way. We've also got transport songs. When do we need to move? When are we moving around? A lot of these were in that wonderful journey that we're moving along, and they have a lot of the different points of fast and slow, high and low, beat and moving as we go within those. And weather songs responding to what is going on outside. An idea of repetition is key, right? Repeating the same songs in story time gives security and memories that we utilize again and again. It's the importance of repetition is for you and for children and for parents and families. Develops familiarity and comfort and a felt sense of safety, of knowing how things will be, knowing what's coming next, which is a very nice sense that we all need sometimes. So I think we've really pushed that point, but don't be afraid of singing the same songs. I'm going to look a bit at designing sessions. So if we're going to start to be quite purposeful in designing sessions, these are some of the things that we're thinking of. We've talked a lot about themes and stories, using the child's pitch, how and when do we use recordings, sharing cultures, and designing for belonging. So thinking of your group and what do they need and how are we going from there. Here's one structure around how that might work. I'm thinking for time, Emily, I might just jump into
Sure.
the next one if that's all right. It's a really basic structure that you can absolutely use, breaking it down into a check-in, a warm-up, something that brings us into what we're really doing for the day, a main thing that we're doing, something that brings us out of that, and then some closure. So I've got the purpose of each of these here. We're starting by thinking of something, a musical activity that will bring attention to the beginning of being in a group plan, that we are doing something together for the moment, and to be able to check in with how are all the individuals and where are they at, especially with children, around checking in with our bodies and needs. Are we going to be able to engage in a group today, or what can we do about that? And then what are we doing today? If we're using our voices out a lot, this is where we would warm them up and activate them. Work into a lead-in activity, familiarizes participants with the components that you're using. So if there's going to be, so it might be where you take the parts of a song to teach it, or work with really fast beats if that's what we're getting ready to do. And then the exploration activities in service of your group or your session goals are coming in this main activity. And then we're slowly stepping out and towards closure. This will often need to be really responsive. Does the group need to come back to a circle or find rhythm again, or do we need to shake it out and move? And then how can we close the session? Leaving group mode, coming with that down-regulating familiar song will serve really well here. To talk you through how we might design one. This is the idea of, I work in a primary school. I work with lots of groups across the school, but I'll often work with the reception class. So here's an idea of a session that I might be designing if I'm looking at class cohesion and group norms in maybe our transition process when receptions are brand new to school and beginning. So if you're happy and you know it, it's a great one for improvisation. Might have, if you're Jodie and you know it, and we might ask Jodie how she's feeling and how she's been this morning. We're getting thumbs up, which means she might be feeling good. And she's showing us that by here. So we might be able to sing, if you're Jodie and you know it, thumbs up. If you're Jodie and you know it, thumbs up. If you're Jodie and you know it, then you really ought to show it. If you're Jodie and you know it, thumbs up. Getting this introduction to each of the receptions in our new class, and really honoring, you will get, how are you feeling today? Not good. I'm grumpy. I don't want to be here. No worries. How do we know that that's how you're feeling? And you'll get the faces, and you can have those moments of just really accepting that and bringing that in. Yeah. If you're John and you know it, you are grumpy. And we're just matching that in this moment. We're going to use voices. We might be mirroring voices. So inviting student to, how are you today? But is that in a sound? They might make it eek, and we might all eek back, and we'll find the different voices and sounds in the room. We'll jump down to the main event, because here your bridge in and your bridge out will be designed around, well, what are we doing? Looking for our receptions with a 5L song, which is a song about eyes for looking, ears for listening, legs are crossed. It's a fun way of bringing in those group norms that are all of a sudden expected of 5-year-olds. They've come from spaces of movement and play, and now we're starting within schools to build in the idea of, we're going to need to come and bring attention to this now. And so you can really scaffold that and bring it in with these beautiful songs. A bridge in is a group song at the beginning if we're getting ready to that idea of learning something together. So we've done a simple one to begin. And then we've done a lot of focusing and sitting still. So our bridge out might be a time to use shake and stop and be able to get up and move around. Finally, this ending song, we work with an activity called Comfort Clouds. So we might bring in some guided relaxation and meditation. And here we're using really intentional recorded music. So this is a song that was actually created as an offshoot of our recent lullaby project. This is a part of it. Just want you to be able to listen to it for a second and imagine being a reception, being invited to find the way that your body sits most comfortably at the moment. You might need to experiment that on your back. You need to be on your side. We do our belly breathing. How big can your belly get? How big can you be full of air? And we might bring in some nice props and floating materials. Bring that through space. And getting that real experience of a beautiful aesthetic, relaxing experience. I love that song.
Okay, I'm just going to talk you very quickly through a few resources. One of the things I love to do, and I actually before I had children got quite obsessed with collecting song books that you can sing. So books that authors have turned, songs they've turned into books. And a lot of these books take a simple song like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star and add new verses on and illustrate them. And it's a beautiful way to in the middle of a session or to end a session where kids are listening to this, you singing a songbook. And so if you want to go back and look at this recording again, you can look at I've got quite a few slides of different books that I've collected. But that's, fantastic to start collecting books. These child's play books, there's lots of them. Isa Trapani is another author who's done a lot of them. But fantastic way, and you get kids to choose one. If we keep moving on, there's also these are just some great resources to find some songs or some wiggles or bounces. These ones are books about music, so again, not necessarily ones to sing, but ones that invite kids to explore music and what it means to be a musician or to play an instrument or to sing. So really fantastic range of books, and I encourage you to, if you haven't already got your hands on them, to do that. At the end of the day, just keep singing. And as Molly said, as a parent or you're a rock star to your baby, so be confident and go for it and have fun with it. That's really what it's all about. So before we bring Jodie back, because I can see that in the chat she has finished her lullaby, which is very exciting. We're just going to talk very briefly, a little bit more in depth about Lullaby Project Australia. As I said, it started at Carnegie Hall, I think about probably almost into its 15th year now. And it is a project that's actually started in a hospital. And a composer who was in the hospital at the time thought how lovely it would be to support those parents whose babies are here for quite a long time and they can't take them home yet, by helping them to write a lullaby for that child. And the project has grown. There are now international partners all around the world. We brought it to Australia in 2019. We've since delivered it in a lot of different settings, in community settings, and regional settings, hospital settings. There's a little video here just to get an idea of what it's all about. Lullaby Project started out of Carnegie Hall in New York, and it's a project all around working with mums and dads and families and giving them opportunity to write a lullaby for their baby. They work with a team of our Lullaby Project artists, and across a few weeks in workshops they get to write down a letter to their child, and then from there bring together a melody, and then that comes together in a lullaby. Lullabies of the Fleur is the first time the Lullaby Project has gone across an entire region, and we thought it would be really beautiful not just to focus on individuals but focus on communities and a whole region, and write lullabies that celebrated families and connections and land and country and culture across 3 different towns.
Working in a group setting with Lullaby Project demystifies the whole process, and working together as a group, we can see that if a group can do it, it makes it much less scary for individuals to have a go. More importantly now than pre-COVID, it really gives us a chance to come together and have a shared experience. The benefits of that are really profound and really moving.
This was the first playgroup I came to since Ali was born, and I've managed to make friends out of it. So that community feel and the support that, you know, we've gotten from everyone in the group, and the reassurance that we're doing the right thing has been so healthy.
What's always really amazing about working in Lullaby Projects is just seeing people come out of their shell and gaining confidence in expressing their thoughts and their ideas. A lot of people say, I'm not really musical, and then they get going and what they come up with is just perfect for them and perfect for their child, and ends up turning into a really, really great song.
I've always been really interested in poetry, but having kids I've sort of lost that part of myself, and I found it to be really healing for me to do something like this and to get back in touch with the things that I miss doing.
It's been really empowering as a new mum to create a song that expresses my love for my child.
You know, see the way he reacts to the music with his name in it makes it actually quite meaningful, because he really does react when he hears his name in a song, doesn't he?
Definitely.
So to ensure we get a chance to sing our own melody, just the next few slides just give a little bit more insight into the project, but I'd really encourage you to look at the website Lullaby Project Australia. There's lots of resources and lots of songs to sing. This is where we've done, as I said, regional communities. We've worked at Flinders Medical Centre in the NICU, Helen Mayo House. A really broad, diverse range of people and communities we've worked with, but all with really unique and beautiful outcomes, bringing people together to create new songs. Molly led the Yorke Peninsula Lullaby Project, which she will just very briefly take you through now.
Yeah, we just going to talk through a bit of the process of how that happens and starts. It was through seeing that video on the Flurio project, being able to get excited by the idea and being in a role where I'm able to help facilitate that. So that's starting with that process of talking to community and seeing, is this interesting? Do we want to do it? And getting community getting curious about the idea, building in that support from Connecting the Dots in Music, who have done this extensively and are able to bring in the artist development required to facilitate it with all of the existing beautiful knowledge. And really investing in our artists, finding the people locally who already sing all of the time and how can they support us to do the same. And then investing in spreading the idea. You've got to scaffold and talk to people and talk about how and why, and show the videos and have that face-to-face communication, because it is a jump to go from I'm not musical, that wouldn't be for me, to I'm going to rock up and I'm going to come to workshops for 4 weeks and write my own song and sing. But that with relationship and with communication and just a continual, that's okay. You don't need to sing. You don't need to be musical. We're going to do that together. At really, you're designing for belonging in a way that suited our community, choosing the right venues and bringing people together, and then just enjoying the ride. We won't show you this beautiful video because I want to hear Jodie's song, but that's also on the website and talks through our Yorke Peninsula project.
2, 3.
Sorry.
That's okay. We ended up with 4 artists over 2 locations. We had around 20 adult and over 20 children as participants, created 23 songs over 4 weeks and released it as an album, which is on Spotify. There's some of our outcomes, the album, a songbook that we created, the family.
To get us here. So from New York all the way back home to Yorks, we want to say the biggest thank you.
This is one of our beautiful lullabies that actually went over to New York and was performed as part of Carnegie Hall's annual concert of lullabies.
Precious gift is here, wrapped in your arms, oh you hold dear.
It's really led to a lot of ripple effects for our community. These artists are quite connected to each other and to their community and to a new aspect of their craft. For families, these songs are being shared with family members, sung at bedtimes. Recently, one of the artists was doing a gig at the local pub and a family who had taken part were there, and so her song was played for everybody as part of the pub gig. The songs are sung in schools and childcare, and they're a way for communities to come together. And I think a key thing is that child experience within it. There's been a lot of pride, a lot of children saying, that's my lullaby, a lot of connection. When I see children now, they'll say, you helped me make my lullaby. And there's comfort in the school setting. It's, can we play my song now? Being able to see that really, really come through. So for our community, it's had a huge impact, and we're excited to see where we can let it take it and ripple it into other populations and just keep singing more and more.
And if you'd like to write your own lullaby, what you've seen today is a little tiny, what we're about to see the end of is a tiny snippet of how we write a lullaby. But it is a very collaborative process. And if you go to our website, there's a create page, which takes you through these steps of how you can go about creating lyrics for your lullaby. If you don't feel confident coming up with a melody, although I encourage you just to give it a go, because actually we all have melodies in us. Choose a melody you already know and add your own words. Until you do it, it's quite hard to understand actually how meaningful it is to write words for your own child or for a family member. We've had people write for other family members, not even for their children if they don't have them, for perhaps. But that really leads us to the moment of unveiling, where Jodie is going to share with us what she's come up with in less than the time we gave her.
So, Laura, I've shared the second file there that has with chords. I thought I'll share the words and the tune, and then if I've got time, I'll put the chords in. And I did have time. Is it possible to put that on the screen for us all to see? Oh, look at you. You're awesome. Whoever's doing that.
Let me see if I can download it.
Great,
if not,
fantastic.
Others can click on it in the chat and they
Sure,
can see it at the
sure.
same time.
That's great. And I have moved over to the piano, which I'm sorry to say does need a little tuning. Shall I just begin?
Oh,
Or no,
if you could
let's wait for the...
begin, Others
Yeah.
can see if they can download
Sure.
it too and see how we go with getting it up.
Sure.
Thanks, Jodie.
I love your passion and deep sense of fun. I love the uniqueness. I love you forever, never sweet dreams, 'cause love is what we do.
I love those tight, squeezy cuddles and your giggles that are contagious. From the tip of your toes to the tip of your toes. Sorry, I made a mistake there. From the tip of your nose to the tip of your toes. Love is what we do. Close your eyes, you're safe here with me. Let your worries flow. Pretend and then the rest will come. See you when the sun comes up. You know you grow when you go to sleep, but don't hurry to grow up. Smile with joy. Sleep is sweet and always be true to yourself. Smile with joy. Sleep is sweet and always be true to yourself.
Wow.
Thank you for all your beautiful words. That was such a pleasure to do.
I think you're muted. Oh, here we go.
Just saying thank you, Jodie. That was beautiful to have all those words come together. Beautiful. Thank you. And the last slide, Molly, just takes us to some websites if you'd like to explore further. And maybe we'll try and put this new beautiful lullaby that Jodie has written up on our page. Maybe we can send out a link to everyone once that's done.
Yeah, and we can also pop that also with our webinar recording as well. So we can pop it into that as well so people can access that all the time, which would be amazing.
I have to leave now, but in the next couple of days I can do a recording for you properly with the fancy gear I've got here.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Thank you,
Jodie. What a great
absolute
addition.
pleasure. Great. Well done. Gorgeous words.
Oh, everyone's, in the chat here are just saying how beautiful and talented you are, Jodie, as well, and what a beautiful song you've created. So thank you for your addition and coming into this webinar today.
So we really encourage you to explore the websites. Definitely listen to the Lullabies of York Peninsula album. It's on all streaming services. You can also get it on our website if just without being signed up to a streaming service. If you go to that project, some really beautiful songs that will have tears in your eyes in a minute. I listen to them regularly. And if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with us. We'd love to partner with you on something if you're looking to bring music into your community anymore as well.
Thank you, Emily and Molly. If you do have any questions or comments, you're welcome to drop them in the chat. I know that time is precious, but those comments and questions will be listened to and heard. Excuse me. But I want to thank you, Emily and Molly, for being a key presenter in this webinar today. You've really inspired us to really appreciate the wonders of singing and movement. Molly, you were saying, we all have a rock star in us. I feel like a rock star after this webinar today already. So you've definitely worked your magic with me. So your insights have obviously encouraged us to really reflect on our programs and the ways that we can truly embed and thoughtfully design music and movement and, even this whole notion of lullabies into our programs and practice. And we can see how it really does draw communities in and works throughout, a community space really successfully. So well done for that. And the impactful work of connecting the dots in music and the ongoing legacy of the lullaby project is truly remarkable. It's so inspiring to see how these initiatives, continue to resonate, and they're with the communities and they're creating those meaningful connections even today. So well done for your work. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing an amazing work and job out there. And we're so thankful that you've been able to share it with us today. There are, a lot of comments again coming through in relation to Jodie as well. So thank you to Jodie too, who I know has dropped out, but her engagement and participation and her talent has also enabled us to really dive into the world of lullabies today as well. So thank you again, Jodie. As we start to wrap up the webinar too, we have just, created some additional slides on top of what Emily and Molly have prepared for us today as well. So there are going to be some great little links that you'll be able to push on with. There's some really great Spotify links in addition to Connecting the Dots and the Lullaby projects as well that we've popped in the slide deck that you'll be able to access with the recording as well. So make sure you click on those, share them with families. They're amazing resources that you can really share on and, give families the opportunity to really dive into this world of sing and music and movement as well. Another little, a great little tip sheet that can also be a really nice way to really encourage families to feel confident and feel that rock star in them can be our Sing tip sheets that are part of the Words Grow Minds resource compilation that you can access on our website. So there is a link here, but you can also access all of those tip sheets on our website too. And they're a really great way that you can include them into your newsletters, embed them into your apps and distribute them, even in hard copies at your programs and sessions as well. So, there's a lot of great tools and resources here that you can definitely access and move forward with after the session today. And again, like we, had mentioned at the very beginning, the Words Grow Minds professional learning course is up and ready to access. And, this Sing webinar, is a complimentary and complements the module 6 of Sing. So if you haven't had a look at our professional learning course yet, it's free. The links are on our website. Dive right in, pick them at the webinar modules and pieces that you would like to engage in and continue learning as well. And our next webinar. So we do have another webinar coming up next year in 2025. I can't believe I'm saying that, on February the 11th from 11 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And this is based on reflective practice for impact. And we have Madhavi Nuwani Parker, who's going to be our key presenter, and she's going to really share valuable insights for early years professionals to really, dive into the world of wellbeing and how that significantly influences young children. She's going to provide some practical tips on how we can nurture ourselves or yourselves and reflect on your practice to really enhance your impact. So this ties into module 8 as well. That's part of our professional learning suite. So don't miss this opportunity. And here's the link to reserve a spot and do that perhaps after this webinar today. I would love to give a really big thank you again to you, Emily and Molly. You've really, truly inspired us with all your passion, expertise, and you've really highlighted that profound value of singing and that impact that it has for babies and young children. So, we're very grateful for your time and wisdom today. It's been an absolute pleasure having each and every one of you join us from various spaces in Australia and across the globe. And we're so grateful for your contributions and engagement. We will compile this recording and we will add in the lyrics to our lullaby that we've created and make sure that all can access this once the webinar recording and all that's come together. But if you would, have a few moments before we finish up to complete the survey on this QR code, that can just ensure that we can evaluate and make sure that our webinars can continue to meet your needs and, continue to move forward with the Words Grow Minds campaign as well. So again, thank you very much. Make sure you stay connected. Here's lots of ways that you can do that through our socials and website as well. And we look forward to coming together again in February for our next webinar on reflective practice. So stay tuned and safe over the holiday period. And thank you once again, and we will see you soon. Thanks so much.